And welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles.
Post New York Comic Con.
I am your host, Tim D-O-double-G. And the man behind the sound effects is at Agent_70 on Twitter.
What's up, everybody?
And at Roddy Cat on Twitter is here with us as well.
That's a true statement. What's up, everybody?
Extra shout out to Roddy Cat for holding it down last week.
Yeah,
Roddy Cat with the solo episode last week.
you know, everybody else has done one. Might as well.
That's right.
Yeah, we have.
And we'll get into why there was a solo episode in a little bit here. But first, make sure to go to our website, thekliqnation.com, where you can find previous episodes of the Comic Book Chronicles and Comic Book News. On the homepage are links to our social media accounts. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google+. We are a part of the Codes Little Podcast Network. Go to cspn.us, do it today. And make sure to subscribe to the podcast by subscribing on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, TuneIn Radio, where all fine podcasts are found. Also, make sure to buy Comic Book Chronicles merchandise by going to shop.cspn.us. Remember, we record live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
Or at least Friday nights for right now.
Did I say Thursday?
Yeah.
That's off of habit.
Exactly.
Friday, live every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
That's right.
And if you're talking Comic Book Chronicle, or if you're talking comic books on social media, use the hashtags Comic Book Chronicles or CBChron to join in the conversation. And you can watch live every Friday night by going to thekliqnation.com/live. So I alluded to Roddy Cat doing the solo episode last week. And the reason for that is because Agent 70 and myself were up in the Big Apple to attend New York Comic Con for the weekend.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Lots of crowds.
Many crowds.
Oh boy, was it crowded.
So you're from New York, so not a long distance trip for you, whereas I flew in Friday morning from Georgia.
Yeah, and luckily for you, you had the day to take in New York Comic Con on Friday. I was at work most of the day and finally rolled in the early evening. And when I got there, it was already crowded. Friday nights have gotten to be a pretty crowded time at New York Comic Con. And from what I heard, Thursday was the most crowded Thursday's been in a long time. And there's a variety of reasons for that too.
Do they still call that like preview?
No longer.
Day? Okay.
No longer.
It's just
no
a full
longer.
day now.
Yeah, it used to be a half day, like you were alluding to, where it was kind of a preview day. But nowadays, it's a full day, full of programming. And just as a quick aside, something that I realized that became a real issue as the show went on was the reconfiguration of the show itself due to construction at New York's Jacob Javits Center. They had basically torn down the North Pavilion where Artist Alley had been housed for, let's say, the past 5 years, and as they're trying to expand the Javits Center and create more space for everything, they had to reconfigure the show, and Artist Alley was put into much smaller space, and that definitely led to a lot more crowding in the con and on the pavilion floors. Not on the pavilion floor, but on the let's call it the lobby floor, like the entrance off of the roadway into the Javits Center. It got to be a pretty crowded area. It usually is, but I think this year was more so.
This was all new to me, so to me it was new. I noticed no difference, obviously.
Sure. So I'd actually like to hear your take on it, because since it's other than that particular change in the show's layout, it's kind of old hat to me. What did you think of our show compared to some of the other shows you've been to?
Well, it's definitely the biggest show I've been to. The other two being Heroes Con and MegaCon. MegaCon was actually the first convention I attended, and actually I think MegaCon prepared me more for New York Comic Con, because I attended, I want to say, I don't think I did a Friday for MegaCon, because I'm sure I spent the majority of that day driving. Yeah, driving to Orlando.
Okay.
But the Saturday was definitely jam-packed with a lot of people waiting in line to get in. Didn't have that problem at New York, for one, because I didn't have a ticket when I arrived. But thankfully, shout out to Matt Wang 97 for allowing my wife to get his Friday pass, since he wasn't going to be able to attend for personal reasons.
There you go. Thankfully, we have that kind of connect so that we can get everyone in the door and, on the show floor. So shout out to Matt Wang 97. Who
I finally got to meet.
Yeah, there you go. That's another thing. This is the first. It happened to be the first time that @TimDog98 and myself actually met in person. So shout out to new acquaintances / old buddies.
I'll try to embed the Instagram pictures onto the post for this episode. My only regret is I didn't think to take a picture with Matt Wang during our less than 5-minute meeting. But he had places to go, so
yeah,
next year, buddy.
Exactly. So
that picture probably would have came out in a blur anyway, because that dude always is on the go anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
So just to recap Friday, I mostly spent that just sort of taking it all in, walking as much of the area and the convention center as I could. Did a lot of the show floor, where majority of the comic book booths and some of the other companies were set up. And actually, I didn't even see all of it, because apparently there was another side of the room I didn't even see until Saturday. And the DC booth was hard for me to find, because they were off by themselves in a corner of the convention center.
Yeah, they're on their own.
Are they normally like that?
They've started doing that.
Okay.
Because I think we used to joke about it being DC just kind of off on its own, not wanting to have itself compared to the Marvel booth and the crowds that they draw. But at the same time, now I think DC's capitalizing on their kind of far off location, because they have a little bit more space to play with. And they had a nice Justice League movie display right next to where their booth was. So I like that they're making use of that extra space.
Yeah, I got pictures of the Justice League members in their display cases.
Sure. So
doing the best I could with the lighting and whatnot.
Right.
The glare.
Right. So on Friday, my day was obviously very short. Luckily I was able to touch base with you on the first day before it got a little crazy on Saturday. But I was able to take in a panel actually on Friday, which was the Doomsday Clock panel. That was Jeff Johns in the main stage talking about writing the DC Watchmen crossover. They gave out these pins, with the Doomsday Clock with the Superman sigil, the logo on top. And they gave away an Ashcan comic as well that I can dig out. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to dig that out. But at the end of the day, that was the bulk of my Friday, going to that panel and just kind of getting the lay of the land of the relocated Artist Alley, which was super crowded, even then, a Friday night.
You just reminded me that I did attend my first panel on Friday. It was DC. It was before your Doomsday Clock, since that I think ended Friday night. But I attended the metal panel.
There you go.
Which they gave out these playing cards.
Oh, nice.
And put focus on me. I actually haven't opened it. I see that it's got some other card. I thought it was just like one card with Joker, but apparently it's a couple more in here. The back.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And there's like maybe 4 more in here. So kind of cool.
That's cool.
So that was fun. I think that was definitely the only panel I attended. So I got my pass through CBR.com. Another reporter had already had a press pass, but he was unable to make it. So I got in touch with my editor, and he was able to reach out to the people behind New York Comic Con and get them to transfer the.
I'm just clapping for you getting your press pass. That was awesome.
Got them transferred over to me, so that was easy for me to pick up when I got there at the will call.
That was awesome.
And then what I found out later, so yes, I get a 4-day pass, but also I guess CBR, since they're an established site, has another hookup where I got special. I guess I should have brought my badge in here. They have these special like star sticker to put on the front of the badge. So I got to jump in front of. Well, I didn't really get to jump, but it reserved me a spot in any panel.
Nice.
Which came in handy Sunday when I did do basically all of my reporting for CBR, which I'm starting to finally work on getting those written up and turned in this weekend. So hopefully, like maybe even this weekend or going into early next week, you'll start to see 3 of my articles come out.
That's awesome.
But so yeah, I didn't actually use that privilege until Sunday.
Right. Well, and it was really crowded, and you were in some of the really on-demand panels too.
Well, yeah, I had a schedule for 3. So skipping from Friday to Sunday. So Sunday.
No, let's not skip to Sunday. Let's do Saturday, because Saturday is the day we actually got to walk around.
Yeah, I hung out with
a little bit
with Agent 70 majority of the time on Saturday.
Yeah, because Tim Dog got into the show a little on the late side because he was commuting from like Westchester.
Yeah.
Had to deal with the Metro North and the subway on a Saturday, which is never fun. But Saturday, we actually had a chance to just kind of hang out and be fans at a Comic-Con and walk around and shop a little bit, you know.
I was actually surprised because, like you said, I got there a little after 1, I guess, by the time I got there. And like all Friday, I was not really dreading it, but just kind of like bracing myself. Okay, Saturday is going to be a lot more crowded than Friday was, so get ready for it. But then when I got there Saturday, I felt like it wasn't that different from Friday. But
right.
Maybe a lot of the people that had already been there half of the day that morning, so they had already left.
Exactly. And then some of them are heading to the offsite stuff too. So I got in on Saturday, let's say a little bit before noon, and it was jammed. I was, the proverbial sardine in a can on Saturday in the midday, but it started to kind of thin a little after lunchtime, I guess, as people were going to get lunch. And I think it probably got crowded again, later in the afternoon, especially in Artist Alley, as we were trying to make our way around the Artist Alley floor, if you remember.
Yes, the very crowded and stuffy Artist Alley.
Yeah.
Not a lot of AC or ventilation down there.
Yeah, it's a tough spot. It's definitely on the overcrowded side down there in its new location. I actually responded to the how did we do email that New York Comic Con sent to me, and all I did was complain about the AC in the new Artist Alley. But we Tim and I got to go around. I was actually with some friends who are avid cosplayers, and I was hanging out with them, and got to see what they were cosplaying as, and got to see what what the good cosplayers were doing in the cosplay area. That was a big part of Saturday.
Anybody cosplaying as the Javits Center, though?
Yes. Yes, not someone I knew, but we passed that guy by.
Yeah,
there we go.
Watching the video, I have that picture up that's been going around. Or at least one the article has been going around about that. And
Listen,
I thought
that was really good.
Yeah.
It was really good. Like I actually stopped. I don't know if I took a picture of it or just kind of gawked at it because it was really well done. I mean, how many convention centers could you kind of cosplay as and be recognizable, right?
Well, I mean, if you're not from there, I guess even if you are from there, I guess, yeah. I don't know. Good point.
So, but yeah, no, Saturday was kind of like an interesting day where we got to be fans and we went around. I know in Artist Alley I had a chance to talk to Greg Pak on Saturday. Talk to my cosplaying friends are very well acquainted with known as Lead Killer on Twitter and Instagram. One, Ken Lashley of an artist on X-Men, and we definitely had a chance to talk to him as well.
And while you were talking to Greg Pak, I want to say the table right next to him was talking to the artist of All New Guardians of the Galaxy, Aaron Cooter.
That's right.
Should have asked him how he pronounces his last name. But he's a good guy. He encouraged me to spread the word and get people to read and buy All New Guardians of the Galaxy because apparently it's the sales for it aren't that great.
Huh.
Well, Duggan, I was about to say Jerry Duggan was at the show too. I didn't have a chance to stop and talk to him, but I think once they take Bendis off a book, I think all the Bendis followers kind of leave with it. So that kind of, that doesn't bode well that didn't obviously bode well for Guardians' sales.
He mentioned that it's like the lowest book he's been on so far.
Really?
Which I should have should have asked him some more questions about that because I feel like some of the DC stuff. But then he was on Superman for a while,
right?
With Pac, which okay, that would make sense why they were sitting next to each other. Duh. But
sure.
Superman books. I want to say, Superman books like probably they're going to sell somewhat decently, but I want to say I used to actually pay attention to the sale charts back then. I feel like Superman was in the 30,000 range.
Okay.
Like mid 30K. But maybe not. Maybe that's true and Guardians is below that.
Maybe. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's hard to tell if you don't have the numbers in front of you. Also on Saturday, I did track down 2 more signatures for my Heroes 9/11 tribute book. I got Jay Lee and Sal LaRocca in short order. They were both at their tables, and I walked right up to them, thanked them for contributing, and they signed. Not a problem. And also on Saturday, I got the only sketch that I got during the con. It was a free sketch, and it was freaking awesome by the always awesome Walt Simonson doing a headshot of Ma Grimm's favorite son, the ever-loving blue-eyed Thing. And I posted this as a member of the Walt Simonson Appreciation Society on Facebook, and definitely got a lot of views, lots of likes, and posted it on Instagram. So that was pretty cool. Very happy to get that. And Walt and Wheezy Simonson were always cool, so it's nice to see them.
And I picked up this Black Panther exclusive doll.
Yes, I got one too.
Scotty Young. Is that the Scotty Young?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh man, that's cool.
Yeah, I got one too. I don't know where it is, but I got one too.
And let's see, my wife got the exclusive Baby Groot t-shirt, which I wanted to get the same one, but they didn't have my size.
Same. I was so mad.
Let me put the focus on me. So There we go.
Cool.
And I, aka Agent 70, got me this Comic-Con Transformers t-shirt.
Yes, you're very welcome.
So thanks, man.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Always gotta watch out for our co-hosts, especially when they're in town. So there's a lot of fun, lot of fun. So that was pretty much our Saturday.
We saw the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. cast, I guess, go up on the Marvel booth.
Yeah, that's right. They're having their signing and like a small panel, because I guess they have their big panel at Madison Square Garden.
And that pretty much does it for Saturday, I think.
Yeah, I don't recall what else we did Saturday. I mean, I definitely spent a lot of time just kind of running around, taking care of like small errands and seeing people. But that was pretty much Saturday. I know that my friends went to the after party that night. I to beg out because I had some other appointments. But Saturday was a pretty full day.
And Sunday, I had a long day because I had to get there by 10:30 for the world premiere of Batman versus Two-Face animated movie, which was good, by the way. So the panel started by playing the movie, and then the voice talent and some of the creators, producers were up on stage to discuss it and take some fan questions. So as far as people, the general public would know, we had Burt Ward as the voice of Robin and William Shatner as the voice of Two-Face.
Cool.
So took some pictures of them, and because I was up in the second row on the front. So that was cool.
Man, look at that.
Had a good view.
Adam West little tribute or something.
Yeah, they had the little at the end of the film, they had in loving memory of Adam West, rest well, bright night. So
cool. Yeah, Sunday morning I was actually in church, so I didn't get to the con until around 2. So I missed a lot of the early stuff and the midday stuff. It doesn't leave you a lot of time on a Sunday to kind of scramble back, because the show does close at 5, even though some things went a little after.
So then I had an hour and a half break, so I got something to eat, spent some time up in the press area to get away and chill, and then I had to go up the street like a block, maybe a block and a half, to the Hudson Mercantile Room for In Conversation with Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. It was basically a one-on-one conversation between the two of them, talking about their past, growing up as kids, working together across Batman, that type of deal. Kind of very intimate setting.
Was the room packed?
It was not.
Disappointing.
Yeah, but it was cool. It was a small group, which is probably why they set it up that way. But yeah, it was in the second floor of the Hudson Mercantile. The whole room wasn't full of seats, so it was like they had a couple rows set up of seats, and maybe like 3/4 of the chairs were taken.
Okay.
Had a break after that, so that's when I ate lunch after that, because instead of going and paying more and waiting in line back at the Javits Center, I caught a food truck outside and got Italian sausage.
Nice.
Get any pizza?
Didn't eat any pizza. No New York pizza.
You know what's funny is that as crowded as our schedules, like as much time as we had, like kind of put aside for the con, it became clear that as crowded as our schedules were, we didn't really have a chance to like hang out outside the con, because Tim and his wife and they were staying outside of the city, so traveling for them was going to be add some time to their day, or take away some time from their day. So on Sunday, I also caught a panel late, just before Tim kind of had the highlight of his Sunday. I caught the Batman the Animated Series 25th anniversary panel, which was a lot of fun. Headlined by Kevin Conroy and Tara Strong.
Or at least news that came out of that panel anyway.
Oh yeah, that's cool too. We'll talk about that later on.
And unfortunately, I wasn't able to catch up with Agent 70 Sunday, but he just mentioned the Batman Animated Series panel, and once that finished, that basically closed the panel, or closed New York Comic Con, I believe.
Right.
But they got the talent that was on hand for that panel and took them back to the press area, where I got to participate in a roundtable interview with them. So that was cool. That was my first roundtable. So it's basically different members of different press outlets together. Some, like 1/4 or a quarter of the people on hand had camera, people working cameras, and people to interview the talent in front of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
So they set them, they had a wall set up with the New York Comic Con banner on it, and like so everyone's set up in a row next to each other with their cameramen, and then so basically each talent would come in and start on one end and just go down the row. Like they give them like 2 minutes apiece with each reporter. So they were able to get video, which I'm sure probably works great on their site. But then the rest of us they had four tables set up where you pick a table and then they keep a chair open for the talent to come. So we'd have like 5 minutes or it started out like 10 minutes and then it got cut down to like 5 or less. Like they sit down and we'd ask them questions for 10 minutes and then they get up and someone else would come and sit down. So off of memory, I'm trying to think who I talked to. I know, at least in the order, and I can't remember the dude's name. Alan Burnett.
Yes.
Start with him. Then
Paul Dini?
No, actually. I have my notebook in my book bag here.
Oh no. So,
because I want to get the order. Kevin Conroy was there, but he wasn't second. Maybe he was. Let's see. Kevin Conroy. So Alan Burnett. Oh, Bruce Timm was the other one.
Bruce Timm. That's right.
So yeah, it was Alan Burnett, Bruce Timm, then Kevin Conroy. No, then Tara Strong, then Kevin Conroy we ended with. But Kevin and Tara, we only got like less than 5 minutes with because they started running out of time. And actually Kevin, like they combined 2 of the tables together to get Kevin, because it was like we either had to combine to make one table or basically like get very short question or time with them. But I felt like
you're sitting next to Batman when he was talking, right?
I asked him a question and I got a good response out of him. Like, and they did a good job of like, looking at you while they were giving the response. So I have the audio for that, which I have to transcribe and write up for CBR. But so yeah, he gave good responses, or a good response, at least for my question. And I feel Tara Strong did too. I forget exactly what I asked both of them, but both of them they were very giving.
Right. Forthcoming even. I was going to say that was a pretty live panel, for the last panel of New York Comic Con, after 3 full days or 4 full days of convention stuff. You'd think that some people would kind of be running out of gas, but they definitely were not. And, it's a joy, like I've seen Kevin Conroy on the floor, at a booth at New York Comic Con, but obviously you just can't appreciate hearing his voice until he's on the mic. And all I had to do was just kind of shut my eyes and listen. And I'm like, we're in the middle of a Batman the Animated Series episode or a Justice League episode. And it was awesome.
Yeah, I felt bad for him because Kevin definitely was like tired, and because like there was one question where he was trying to get an answer going, and it was like his brain just like stopped, and he was like, apologizing because
Mhm,
he was like, my brain's just my brain is fried right now.
mhm.
But he didn't seem grumpy or anything. It was just like, it's been a long 4 days or however long he had been there for the weekend.
Sure.
But yes,
No, it
good
was a
times.
lot of fun. A lot of fun. A lot of fun.
So yeah, that was a late night getting home and then having to turn around and fly back the next day. But I'd do it all over again.
Nice. Nice. I
I
love
will.
that. Yeah, I was about to say I love that you got press passes for this because now they're definitely gonna you know give you the opportunity to cover more stuff, man.
Yes, sir. All right. I think
Cool.
that covers everything.
Think so.
So comic book review time.
Yay! We
Maybe we
transit.
should maybe we should keep reviews semi-short since we went a little long with the recap of Comic-Con.
Oh yeah, because it's the first time. Oh no, not the first time. Because when you guys went to was it MegaCon?
Heroes Con.
Heroes Con, right? You guys both went to Heroes Con. That's the other time where we've had a back and forth, review of a comic book convention. So it's going to take a little more time.
Right.
All right. So in comic book reviews this week, you want to start with what we were talking about just prior to the show, Dark Knight's Metal #3.
Yes.
All right. So
I think you were saying something about how I know I called it wacky
yeah,
fun.
yeah. You know what? I appreciate that it's wacky fun, but I guess I just had some trouble keeping up. It did take a couple of pages for me to get in, but obviously that was on purpose on the part of Snyder because there is an element to the story that you have to understand that Batman has been taken prisoner in a sense, and the rest of the Justice League are looking to try to rescue him, or at least Batman and Superman are, and the first half of this issue is kind of about discovering the current status of the heroes and what the Dark Batman are doing around the world.
It was definitely more more focused on Superman this time around.
Sure.
It was a lot of watching him, I guess, be tortured by the uh, Bar Barbatos, however you say his name,
Mhm.
and also the evil Batman, and then Superman always having being filled with hope and uh, believing that Bruce was calling out to him through the Morse code that the Trinity of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman had come up with, but
Right.
then having it turn against him.
Yes, that is the big twist at the end of the issue. Um, there's some in between where we kind of leave off with Superman and Wonder Woman escaping from the Dark Batman. Um, there is a search where the remaining heroes have to split up and look for using their affinity for some of the various metals in the DCU to look for Batman, I guess. And what ends up happening is it backfires on Superman based on what Tim Dog 98 was just saying.
Yep. And I did enjoy the magical dive bar, the Oblivion bar that the heroes retreated to.
Yes. Yes, and if PCN _ Dirt was here, shout out to PCN _ Dirt. he'd be telling us all about the Oblivion Bar and all about the two characters who are holding it down in the Oblivion Bar.
Yes. I was wondering that was that something that from DC past or DC lore that's popped up before, or was it new? But something tells me it's probably been around before.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that that's kind of a deep cut. I'm presuming it's a deep cut without having Googled it. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. You're saying
I commented Nightwing cosplaying as Jon Snow for you Game of Thrones fans.
Well, I get that reference now. I get it now. I finally watched it.
Yeah, made sense, huh?
Yeah,
like America GIF.
Yeah, right. I get it now. Oh my goodness. All right.
But that's basically Metal.
Mhm.
Superman. They tricked Superman into becoming a battery of some type. So things are looking bleak for our heroes, who are also split up into different teams now, with one Metal adjacent character on each team, or one character attuned to the different metals. Who was it? Deathstroke,
Dr. Fate,
Steel, and Dr. Fate.
In the Plastic Man. No, Mr. Terrific, right?
Yeah, I guess he was one of them too.
He was
like
one Plastic Man.
One team went to space. Green Lantern and someone went to space. Was it Mr. Terrific or Dr. Fate went to space? Aquaman took Deathstroke under Atlantis. And I forget what the third one. Oh, Wonder Woman went with someone to the place where like Shazam comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Rock of Ages or something like that.
Yeah, Bialia. Yep. Goodness gracious. Alrighty.
All right.
Oh, by the way, just very quickly, the next issue in this, I guess, arc of Dark Knight's Metal is Batman Lost. That's where you can discover the nightmare of the Dark Multiverse. So in 2 months, we get Metal number 4. So we have a little bit of a respite in between these issues.
I need to check out that Batman Lost. Looks like it's
Shout
gonna
out.
be.
Oh, go ahead.
Fun.
I was going to say shout out to @MattWang97, who chimes in and says that was Detective Chimp and Nightmaster from Shadow Pact. Nightmaster runs the Oblivion Bar. He was a rock star. He also, spoiler alert, he also got a sword hilt to the head. I'll leave it at that.
Oh yeah.
So, alrighty. So, President Bartlett.
What's next?
Let's go with. I mean, we can go anywhere. I guess we can finish DC out. I can finish my DC. Was that the only DC y'all read?
I read that in Mr. Miracle.
Let's do Mr. Miracle number 3.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to read this, but I don't remember if I read issue 2, so I'm going to have to go back and read that before I read this.
All right. So without spoiling too much.
The last issue ended with the death of a character, and we saw that character dug up and decapitated, I guess.
I guess. Yeah, that's what's implied.
But then Scott Free and Big Barda got some downtime from the war against Darkseid and his forces. So I guess they were back on Earth, and Mr. Miracle was visited by Bug the Forger.
Right.
Who is requesting that Scott stop Orion's reign as High Father.
Right. So just before Tim Dog moves on, there's a reason why Tim made the caveat that says it seems like, because part of what's happening in this issue is that all may not be as it seems in terms of what Scott Free is experiencing or where he thinks he might be. So it's not clear yet, but that's definitely a story point in this issue.
I was about to say, it sounds like in the whole run so far at the
So far, right, as the story's developing, that may become an issue.
Yep. Things are not what they seem, which you could kind of tell that from the first issue. Like, you definitely get the impression that Scott's reality may not be real.
Right, or at least not completely what he thinks it is. So, ultimately, as Tim was saying, it seems as if Scott Free, aka Mr. Miracle, and Big Barda have gotten some downtime away from the war, and Scott actually is, back on Earth, kind of doing what he does best and trying to make some dough as an escape artist. And ultimately, they find themselves being called back to New Genesis to continue the war.
Yep.
Yeah, and there's an interesting exchange between Orion and Scott Free at the end of this issue too.
Call it the paranoid pill is referenced.
Exactly. So again, as we were saying earlier, all may not be as it seems. So it's a little on the psychedelic side too.
Yeah.
So, the coloring really does a good job of getting that across.
And my other DC book I can leave for rapid fire.
Alrighty.
Yeah, they seem to still be making a whole lot of use of panels in Mr. Miracle.
Oh yeah, all the nine grid panels.
Yep. Lots and lots of nine panel grids. Yep.
Speaking of which,
You have a 9-panel grid?
I checked this out from the my local library today.
Nice. Nice.
So we'll be giving that a read. Maybe I have till the November 3rd to return it.
Nice. I was
watching the video that he had a copy of Watchmen, the graphic novel.
Say again?
No, I was just saying, telling that for those who did.
Oh, yes. Yeah. At TimDog98 was holding up a copy of the Watchmen graphic novel. Right. So just so that at MattWang97 knows, there's no need to send a copy of Watchmen to at TimDog98. No need.
And I'm pretty sure you could have found that on like NetGalley or something.
Oh yeah, but I ended up getting in this long conversation with the girl that works at the library because she's like into she cosplays for Dragon Con and whatnot, and I asked if there were any graphic novels at our library, and she showed me where they were at, and I was like, okay, Watchmen, yeah, I haven't read that. I'll do that. They didn't have too many. That and V for Vendetta. Mm-hmm. Unless some others are checked out, but I'll check back throughout the year to see what else they have.
There you go.
At your library.
Nice. All right. So, Roddy, do you have any DC to talk about before we move on?
No.
All right. See what you guys.
We can go there.
All right, if you want.
Actually, since I guess since I've took this and started doing this, Star Trek: The Next Generation, Mirror Brooklyn, number 4. So I continue to love this book. It is the Next Generation mirror episodes that we did not get during the course of the TNG, and there's a lot of good skullduggery going on. Well, actually, not so much right now, but there's some things that could be some backstabbing that could potentially happen, and then whatnot. So at this point, Picard and his crew have taken over the Enterprise from Jellicoe, and they found it so short-staffed. Then they're going through the motions of getting that settled out while plotting their domination of effects, trying to get the humanity back into quote unquote its rightful place out of the corner of the universe. But like I said, they're hit with staffing issues because they were trying to get rid of a bunch of people loyal to Jellicoe, and they are actually, there's a nice TOS callback in here to a device when they take Jellicoe and crew that they've put away into this prison place. And like I said, there's a nice TOS reference in there for folks who want to read this. But after they also introduced Guinan into the mix, and I'm not sure if I like the way they did that.
Okay.
It's kind of the way they had her looking and what they had her. But again, in this universe, it kind of still makes sense. Like stuff still, if you know anything about Picard's and Guinan's relationship, that seems to be still the way it is. But however, they kind of flip some stuff just a little bit. But again, mirror universe stuff, so that particular treatment is in there. But then once they get all this straightened out, or start to get all this straightened out, they get met with some it's not the Federation, but let's just say the mirror universe equivalent of the Federation comes to call them, because after all, they did steal the flagship ship of the said Federation. And of course, Picard and crew handled them pretty nicely, because apparently this is a warship of some note. But then they meet up with a nice little other snag at the end of the book, and we will see how that goes next issue. I don't know how the Enterprise is going to get out of this one, but nevertheless, they have some fights ahead of them. But it's a good book. Like I said, if you like Next Generation, if you like especially mirror universe episodes of the Star Trek shows, like I know Dirt was, and I am also, you should check this book out. It's pretty neat.
Cool. All right. Roddy, you want to move to Marvel? I see we've read a couple books in common.
We have.
So do you want to touch upon Falcon #1?
Yeah, sure. Let's do that one.
All right. I just saw it was right next in line after your Star Trek notes. So this is the first issue of Sam Wilson's latest solo adventures. Well, not necessarily solo now, because he's taking on his own sidekick.
Exactly, which I'm assuming that must have happened because there's I think that last half of Captain America Sam Wilson I did not read, like specifically when it got to the 20s. So I think so this must have happened somewhere between there and obviously some Secret Empire.
It definitely happened towards the end of even the Secret Empire issues. This is a very, very, very recent development in terms of their the relationship between Sam Wilson and I forget the kid's real name, but the new Patriot.
But yeah, the new Patriot. Which I know I feel like we did talk about this before, because we asked why couldn't they have used
Eli?
Yeah, excuse me. Which we still haven't found that answer yet, but nevertheless. Yeah.
No, I think they did it in a couple. We definitely have discussed this issue, and I think it came out that this kid had consulted with the previous Patriot, and the previous Patriot had given his blessing, and they did that in like a panel.
Right, but it still doesn't answer the question as to why.
Right, exactly.
Like, I mean, I get it, but it didn't make much sense. Regardless, continue.
So, this is Sam trying to find his way in his latest incarnation as a Falcon, specifically on the streets of Chicago.
Mhm.
You know, kind of putting him right where David F. Walker had put. Wait, did David F. Walker put Nighthawk in Chicago?
Yeah, Nighthawk was in Chicago.
Yeah. So that's the most recent solo book that was that centered around the city of Chicago, and this is the latest.
Yeah. So yeah, this is Falcon getting back to street level after the events of Secret Empire. He's basically, I guess, there was some panel in here saying that he wanted to, after all of the fights that he fought way, above ground villains and whatnot, and then like I said, the stuff that happened in the Secret Empire, he wanted to kind of get back to ground level and try to get back in touch with trying to settle, try to handle stuff on ground level, which I get that. I don't know why I had this is an this seems kind of an interesting story, could be, but at the same time it also seemed kind of,
well, when we get to the twist at the end, and we've known about this twist because of previews and and announcements, but it's still it's still kind of jarring when you get to it, because you're reading this mostly street level story. I really like that, they've taken some of the criticisms I've always had about the Falcon to heart, which is he didn't really have anything other than his wings, and he was always kind of vulnerable to, long distance attack. So they've given him, some upgrades and some different pieces of equipment. None of that actually makes a hero, but it always helps because, he always just seemed very vulnerable from a distance or from just in combat in general. So they've given him, some I guess lightweight armor. They've given him literally like a Falcon Talon, which is like a pseudo batarang.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, or grappling hook or whatever the case may be.
Right. Well, he doesn't need to grapple. So it's kind of like a batarang with the rope on it. Yeah. So, but I like the the very small, subtle things, without having to give him like shoulder cannons that that help with him being a more effective combatant. Not necessarily a better hero, but at least a better combatant.
Right. And right. And just like it said in the story, is like the suit doesn't make the man, you make the suit. And that, gets brought up in here, which makes sense because like he was saying in the beginning, he was trying out some new stuff that he was still having to get used to, like Agent 70 also mentioned. And yeah, I guess because the only other thing in his arsenal was his telepathy with Burge, which he has using from time to time,
Right.
kind of call in distractions or whatever.
Exactly. So, it's nice that they give him a little bit more on top of what he already had. So, he's a little bit more offensive capabilities. It's a good thing for him.
Which actually kind of brings me makes me wonder about something. So, Generations Captain America's we talked about that already a couple of weeks ago. Like, I wonder if they're going to call any of that into play. Because he did actually have military training through that experience, or a lifetime of of experience through that experience. Not that he didn't have any training with Captain America before that, and shield training, whatever else, but
I wonder if the preacher part might come into play.
So and the only thing we get close is like he mentions his dad, who was a preacher, and
right.
And I guess what I'm getting at is like his stance and things in this issue kind of feel like he's going that route. It's like, while they don't really he doesn't actively call upon that experience as a preacher, but it feels like he's kind of taking that route partially because of his dad,
right?
But you could imply, if you read Generations Caps, that this is why he's taking the road he is,
right?
So, which kind of made it a little bit better reading this to me for some reason, because I don't know, something for some strange reason didn't just sit right for him to just kind of be to going back to this level. That part I understood, but taking the stance he did in the way he was handling it,
right,
it kind of makes sense. But it also, again, after everything he's seen and done, especially with the Secret Empire stuff, it makes sense. but it still seemed kind of cliche. It was like, okay, sure, he has to be the one to come over here and stop the gang violence, as opposed to still handling the stuff he did as Captain America with, American-based attacks or whatever the case may be.
Right. So the twist on, I was about to say the twist on that though, you're kind of alluding to it.
Right.
Because, it's not necessarily a street level threat that he's dealing with.
Right. Well, yeah, what we find out at the end of this issue, but also what I'm saying is that he also mentions when he's talking to the mayors, like, wherever there's, whatever, basically anything within the borders of America is something he's going to handle. So he did actually say something to that effect. So, but as Agent 7 is alluding to, like, to get to the meat of the problem. So there's a couple of gangs in, a couple of the major gangs in Chicago that have, of course, been having beef. So Falcon takes it upon himself to try to mediate. He and Patriot ends up trying to mediate between the two to cause peace. The mayor's kind of like, yeah, sure. But we also get a sense that there's something else afoot here, which ends up being at the end of this, when the meeting goes down, it doesn't go, of course, according to plan, because some things get a little bit out of control, and we found out that there was a big bad behind the shenanigans of a metaphysical sort, which is weird for the level of hero that Falcon is now, I guess. I don't know.
I think always was, even as Captain America. I don't think he was.
As Captain America, he's gone. Well, even when he was in the Avengers, previously, he's, helped handle, type bad guys. So this is basically them. So like, well, this is not him just going back to just strictly street level folks. So this is adding up a bigger bad than you would think someone of his. I kind of even just hate to say it like that, because it's like
it's
that's
power
kind of
levels, but like at the end of the day, it's his power levels,
I guess, yeah.
Putting him in a lightweight suit of armor doesn't make him the equal of this particular bad guy. So.
No,
but then again, if you think about it, this bad guy first appeared in the 90s and didn't exactly take on the heaviest of hitters.
That's true.
So
true. Which I thought, I was like, I expected, Hydra still, I guess, floating around somewhere and whatever. I kind of expected, I don't know what I kind of expected, because you kind of get, like, again, you already get the sense that there was somebody behind it. You didn't think it was somebody like this.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, that's different. That's interesting. And it kind of makes sense, I guess, within reason, I mean, if you know who this character is.
Sure. All right. So we won't spoil it. We won't spoil it. It's the first issue. Go out and read it.
Yeah. Go check it out. Because even like, I know people have been out there saying, including like Nick Experiencers, like, hey, go check the book out. They're crafting a neat story out there. And it does seem to be heading toward that way. So I'm gonna give this book a definite chance for this. All
right. So shout out again to @MattWang97, who is using us as an escape from his home duties on a Friday night. He writes on Twitter, you remember when Falcon fought a Sentinel in his first mini? I don't remember that. I mostly remember the covers to his first miniseries.
Yeah, because I don't remember ever reading the mini. I know that was a thing, but I don't remember ever reading it. Which I guess, what?
Yeah, I was going to say, I know I read at least an issue or two, like in passing, and I think I own like an issue or two in passing.
Right.
So honestly, I remember the covers better.
Yeah, assuming Marvel Unlimited has it, because they are bad about putting some things up.
So, but all right, so that's that, and let's keep going on Marvel and do Miss Marvel number 23.
Yes, as I get the book up.
Right. So something that came up in this is kind of finishing or picking up a loose plot thread, which was Kamala's trip to Pakistan.
Well, loose in the sense that you knew they were going to come back at to it at some point. Yeah.
Right, but it's taken a little bit of time because of the intervening Secret Empire and even Civil War II. Wait, no, this was post Civil War II, I think. When
was it, or was it in the midst of? I can't remember actually.
Right, but what's obvious just from our conversation on this is that there have been a couple of big events that have come in the interim, and unless you are a regular reader of Ms. Marvel, you may not recognize who this character is, and you needed a little bit of a refresher on on that character's background. But it was nice that that we saw this character again, and as part of, I guess, the next phase of Kamala Khan's personal life, because we start off with an update on what Bruno is doing in Wakanda, and we also find out that Kamala's brother is getting ready to leave home with this bride. So things are changing in terms of her family life,
right? And not just with her family life, with her, because we see as this issue starts, she's kind of in some feelings after
Secret Empire,
yeah, and everything that's been going on with her in the midst of that, and probably prior to that, because I was the stuff with Civil War also seemed to be upon her, which to the point to where she had mentioned every time she looks at the suit, she feels some kind of way, but she still has it on her or with her when something happens in the course of this issue.
Right. And I kind of like the kind of like sitcom cliche of the new kid in school, that G. Willow Wilson kind of twists on us to insert the character that we were referring to that had been introduced earlier on in the series.
Mm-hmm. So we might as well go ahead and say it. So the person that we're talking about is called the Red Dagger. This was a guy named Kareem, whom Kamala met when she took a trip to Pakistan. I can't remember what issues. It's been a while for that one. And I don't know why I said Pakistan like that, because sounds ridiculous. But and she met Kareem and his costume alter ego there. Well, now he has come to Jersey for a foreign exchange program, and also presumably something else, although we don't necessarily get a sense of that. But it just seems like, although we do know, like, from solicitations and whatnot, he is, when I guess this when Miss Marvel catches up to Legacy, it sounds like he might be a little bit more front and center than Kamala is for a couple of issues. But
so
point,
I wanted to just make a note that one of the consistent things about this book is that whomever they pull in to do the art on this book maintains the look. They may not, there's nobody trying to ape Miyazawa. There's no one trying to ape Adrian Alfona, but they maintain a relatively consistent look. And
the art continues to look great in this book.
Right. I think Ian Herring, the color artist, is consistent on this book, and I think that helps a lot. But in terms of whoever's doing the pencils on this, they're doing an excellent job of maintaining a very consistent look and feel. So it really does not jar the senses when you're reading it. You may see a different name on the cover and in the credits page, but it's definitely consistent, and that does a lot. It really does do a lot for the reading experience.
Right, which is one of the things I've always loved about this book, because they seem to take care within and without the book for something, like with the characters and with the art, and everything around it. They've seemed to take a lot of care with it, and I do appreciate that, unlike other books I can probably name and won't.
Of course. And the main kind of impetus for the story is what is I couldn't remember, and I haven't had a chance to look it up. The name of the movie that Denzel and Chris Pine are in, where there's a runaway train.
Was it Trainwreck or something? I can't remember.
No, it's not Trainwreck, but it's
I know what you're talking about it, but I don't remember because
Right now, I'm going to Google it now that I have a chance to actually sit down and do it. But ultimately,
or any of those type of runaway train type of movies. Anyway, you could probably.
Right. But I'm going to Google like Denzel movie train or something, or train
movie.
Denzel train movie. There it is. So Google, I don't want Training Day. I want the training movie. Unstoppable.
There we go. Yeah.
And it's actually a 2010 movie. Holy cow. Is that long ago?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if that movie did, particularly gangbusters.
I watched it. I mean, not in the theaters. I definitely watched it like on television.
Yeah, I think I've seen it on television.
Yeah.
Done that. So
at least parts of it on television.
Right. So yeah, what's funny about this is that there's it's not going nearly as fast as that train in that movie, but it's going fast enough and it's obviously heavy enough to cause a lot of damage even at like medium speeds. And G. Willow Wilson drops a lot of great jokes during this entire sequence with the train.
Indeed. So yeah, and yeah, like I said, there's even the back and forth between the two characters are pretty great. Kamala's kind of feeling some way about Kareem's being here, but at the same time, she sees herself kind of leaning on him a little bit. So Taylor's
right
going to be a little bit more with them too going forward.
Right. And to be honest, this is a nice change of pace from reading the craziness that's in Dark Knight's Metal 3. It just was. There's oftentimes something about this book, that at least kind of brings you back to, a little bit of lightheartedness, a little bit of just kind of regular life, even though it is a comic book about, a teenage superhero. That,
even in the more touching moments of the books, as it tends to get, it still, kind of puts a little bit more perspective.
Exactly.
The other books going along.
Right. So I definitely appreciate this book for that. And I appreciate G. Willow Wilson's writing for that.
Word. So we can move on.
Yep. Tim, what the
want to bring up? Or?
Tim, you there?
You'll be back.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch that. All right. So let's try to wrap up real quick because it's getting late now. What you've got? You want to talk about Uncanny Avengers number 28 because I did read that.
Getting to that.
I didn't type it in. Did you want to talk about something else?
No. Actually, I was just thinking about that one. So yeah, we could do that real quick.
Just very quickly, as you mentioned in your notes, there's an FF moment in here, and I don't think did I show this on the show or do it before the show?
You did it before the show,
right? So I picked up Art Adams was at New York Comic Con, and he online had talked about, or at least someone had posted that he had done this commission piece, and he was actually able to recreate it in poster form. And it was on sale he was selling at New York Comic Con. And this is one of the coolest things I've ever bought at New York Comic Con. I cannot wait to frame this. It's awesome. And at Matt Wang 97 asked me if I like this better than I like the Everybody versus Galactus print, which was like the cover to a trade paperback. And it's a tough call because, this one is just, so packed. This is like George Perez packed, they could both go at each other when it comes to packing as many characters as they can on a single drawing,
Yeah, and I guess that would probably be over selling it a little bit for what I said about this book, because the FF moment was not necessarily what you would think. And so we find out in this issue, which I have not been reading Uncanny Avengers in a good while. As a matter of fact, even this, while some sort of event that this cover kind of alludes to happens, but not enough of it. Nevertheless, so Johnny Storm ends up, who I guess is the last living heir or living relative to Sue and Reed. So he gets visited by a lawyer who kind of tells them this. And this is after apparently what's been happening in the book. Apparently they got attacked by Graviton and the mansion gets wrecked again. So the team's kind of broken apart, after this, and everything that's happened with Secret Empire and whatnot. So people have kind of broken off into the almost actually like what was it, Avengers 11, 12, whatever that last one was before 674, where everyone kind of had split off into other into their own pairings and start talking to each other, whatever. Pretty much similar things happened in this issue. So yeah, Johnny's, I guess, just found that out. So now he has all of Reed's patents, of which there are many, and he's the sole proprietor of them, and he has to pay taxes. We found this out. So that's pretty much the FF moment in this book. So nothing.
We also find out that he's very, very wealthy.
Well, right, because of the patents that he has been now granted. So I don't know. I have all apart. When I was reading that part, I feel like something else got to be going on with this, because this seems to like, all right, this is it seems to be a weird time to bring this up, in the weird book to bring this up. But I guess being that he is in this book, which I did not know, I guess what better time or place to do that, So I was thinking there was something else going on with that lawyer or whatever the case may be, but apparently maybe not. Regardless, the rest of the issue kind of goes like this. So Beast and Wonder Woman, as you see on the cover, this was probably my favorite part of the book. So like they used to do in the old Avengers, they would kind of, they would pal around and they would meet and go drink for a night of carousing or whatnot. But this time they were kind of just like, well, both of them having their recent issues and whatnot, they just kind of got together for a pint and started drinking and talking about it and talk about how to fix it, when police siren kind of comes up, and it's Whiplash, and they both kind of go off and take care of that for a panel or two, which, like I said, I enjoyed that probably the most out of this issue, because it was kind of like back in the days in the old Avengers, when they would, when something like this would happen, you see Beast in the trench coat and, and whatnot. And actually, now that I think about it, you could almost say it's a callback to an old Avengers issue, because I remember there was an old issue of Avengers where he was kind of walking the street and this little girl or little kid lost their balloons, and he went to go get it. They didn't necessarily go through the full steps of that, but they did allude to something similar like it before he met Wonder Man. So, like I said, it was a nice touch that they put into this book. But outside of that, like, you see various members of the team talking, like you see Pietro and whatever the girl's name, her name is Emily. I can't remember the Synapse. That's her name. They're talking. Apparently, he likes her. Janet and Rogue are talking about leadership of the team after everything that's happening. And even though they're not sanctioned, they go to talk about what issues you next, which would be fix the mansion, which enter Scarlet Witch and Dr. Voodoo, who has an idea on how to do that, which involves Sidorak Pokemon, as I'm going to call them. So apparently, since there is not, as we know from Doctor Strange, there's not that much magic left. But apparently, Dr. Voodoo is able to summon some folks from the realm of Sidorak realm, who looks like little mini juggernauts. So, and they go to fix up the mansion. But if that name Sidorak means anything to you, you can only imagine what could be coming up. That could be also invoked from that.
It's related to Sidorak, yeah. It's definitely.
And that is where the book ends. Because
there's an avatar that you're familiar with.
This might show up in the next issue, perchance.
Yeah, just might.
So yeah, and again, this is as the cover says, it's a two-parter. Or actually, it's part one, but it's like you know from it, so it says that it is a two-parters, and even the name of the two-parters is a callback to an old saying of beasts, which was also a good callback. So I enjoyed this issue for that part a good bit. Everything else, like I said, is what it is, because I didn't know too much.
Yeah, it's moving along, because we know that the Avengers books are going to be, I guess, consolidated. So.
So yeah, so I guess this is going to be the two-parter before they go into that whole business. But yeah, nostalgia. Check it out.
All right. Tim, did you want to touch on, before we get to rapid fire, you want to touch on any particular book, or because it looks like we have two more in common?
Amazing Spider-Man 789.
Defenders, right? Or Defenders, either one, because we're gonna have to get into rapid fire soon.
Actually, if I do these two, I'll be done for tonight. Well, no, I won't.
Exactly. That's what I said.
So, Amazing Spider-Man 789, The Fall of Peter Parker, or The Fall of Parker, Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
After the events of Secret Empire, Parker Industries has closed shop, and Peter is relegated to crashing on Mockingbird's couch. As S.H.I.E.L.D. has also disbanded, so she's out of a job, at least temporarily, because she's found a new job, yet Peter is being a bum. He's been at home wearing her Ask Me About My Feminist Agenda t-shirt.
I like that. That was a nice,
Nice
that
call.
was a nice thing, you know?
Yeah, that was cool. So Stuart Immerman and is it Grob Badger?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Von Grob Badger on art are wonderful. It's so this is really just like a one-off issue of Peter being throwing himself a pity party, seeing himself ridiculed in the Daily Bugle paper, and Bobby encouraging him to go out on patrol with her to get out the house. And then, of course, while they're out, they have to stop the Griffin from stealing empanadas.
That was the exact reaction I had when I turned the page to that. I just started laughing. It was pretty silly. You know,
Wait,
funny to see the Griffin.
Please tell me there was a Hostess fruit pie reference.
No, there wasn't. But it was pretty funny to see that text balloon, or that, you know, the text panel in there.
Yeah. So I enjoyed the issue a lot.
It was a lot of fun because it definitely, you know, shows you that Peter's been, you know, brought low, and to a certain extent for good reason, because the criticisms that Robbie Robertson kind of levels against Peter, the businessman, were pretty much all true. And it's sobering to think, well, you know, what Slott had put Peter Parker into, he was obviously destined to not be there for long, but at the same time, kind of as a result of the nature of the character and what we know of the character, he was never going to be there for long to begin with. You know, just based on the character itself, not even knowing, you know, what the plan was for the character on behalf of the writer, on the part of the writer.
Yep.
So, you know,
and Defenders number 6. You see the person on the cover, the character on the cover, the despicable Deadpool, but he doesn't show up till the final page.
Almost final.
Wrong cover. Well, that guy, but
yeah,
different cover, or a different title, actually.
Right.
There we go. So the Defenders put the beat down on Diamondback, send him to jail. We see the court case with nice artist rendering by David Marquez and Justin Ponsor. Very nice.
They look like courtroom
sketches.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember that Diamondback he got probation, right? Or bail. He got bail set.
He got bail, so he was able to go.
Oh, yeah, and then we saw who he's been working with, and it's not too much of a surprise.
Yeah, no spoilers here, but like Tim said, it's not too much of a surprise. Alrighty, yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. You know, like Tim mentioned, the character who's on the cover, does appear in this issue. It is towards the very end because you know, a certain Jessica Jones feels that he is appropriate for what needs to be done in, you know, within the context of the story. So you know what, we'll see where that goes.
Yep.
Alrighty. So Roddy, do you have any more books? Because I think I'm the one that has the most, so I'm more than ready to do rapid fire at this point.
Are you muted, Roddy?
Yeah, let's go ahead and do that because I want to have a couple more books.
All right, rapid fire time. Get the cannon spinning.
And actually, yeah, I'll go ahead and do mine real quick because neither one of them will take that long. Mask number 10, last issue of the book. Sadly. So yeah, I believe, let's see, they ended up fighting a dire wraith that was trying to take over the Earth, but they got ambushed by Venom. So they had a plan to kind of destroy their vehicles and whatnot to get rid of the wraith, which ends up going off, but not before, you know, Venom kind of has a moment or two. But then Matt has to kind of be like, look, you can you can kill me and they take over the Earth, or you can let me live and you know, be able to gloat about how you took me down. So guess which one Venom took. So, you know, the plan goes into action, but they add Venom's vehicles into the mix without them knowing about it. But also at the same time, you know, there's some distrust within the team because of Matt's actions. But after it's all said and done, you know, the team ends up breaking up. But Matt is like, well, you know, the team is over, but or at least this team is over. But my next team will be leaner and meaner, and you know, hopefully, you know, I'll do better next time, basically. And that's where this book ends. So. And I do know this book is well, not this book, but I know Matt is in, the character Matt Tracker is in the First Strike event that is going on right now, and this book is at the end of it says to be continued in that. So we do know, while this book will not go any further, at least right now, it sounds like the book might come back at some point. I'm not sure, but Mask as a team, or at least as a thing, is still going to be within the Hasbro cinematic universe at large, and doing, not cinematic, excuse me, the comic universe. The cinematic universe is a whole different thing. And I guess, speaking of that, even though I haven't read it, shout out to G.I. Joe number 9, which also came up this week, because you got to mention the crown jewel of the Hasbro universe at some point.
There you go.
And there you go. So hopefully the check is in the mail. Didn't get a chance to read it just yet, but I do know it's about the Dreadnoughts. The Dreadnoughts trying to recover Crystal Ball and the Baroness from captivity after Duke comes and tells Scarlet, you can't keep these people without due process. But they get ambushed and things happen, and that's about as far as I had read at the point. So that's that. Let's see. Last book is, and where is it? Because I just put it in here since it wasn't. Immortal Iron Fists number 6. Also, sadly, the end of the book. Where is it? Where is it? There we go. Yeah. The Immortal Iron Fists number 6. Like, this is a Comixology original, so this is digital only. So at the beginning of this issue, no one on Earth, except for Gork, the mini dragon, remembered that Pei was even there. Like, Danny was kind of like, you know, and everybody who went to school with her did not know who she was or whatever the case may be, but because she had been drawn into another dimension. of which in this other dimension, she meets Brenda from the last volume of Immortal Iron Fist. If you remember that one, I've talked about this before, so we don't have to go back over that again. They're fighting for their lives along with a young kid named Jace, who just happens to be along for the ride. And there's some kind of gladiatorial thing going on. All of a sudden, Big Mother, the mother of dragons, the literal mother of dragons, shows up.
I get that.
Yes.
I feel like Captain America. I get that.
Yes. That just still stands. But yeah, and while this is going on, Gork makes Danny and everybody around them remember that Pei, is actually a person and thing. So Danny on Earth tries to find a way to get her back to Earth while she's fighting this dragon. But guess what? In true Iron Fist fashion, while this is all going on, she is fighting this dragon and punches it in said heart. But she actually puts it back, so it's okay. So she is now a true Iron Fist and has earned the respect of the mother of dragons. She is also back on Earth, but unfortunately, they not without loss, because her friend Jace, trying to be a hero, gets dealt with. But and the book ends with Danny and Pei, coming together. As they weren't during the course of the book the whole time. But
their own version of legacy.
Yeah, basically.
Cool.
So, it even says she's going back to whenever the portal opens back up, she's going back to Kunlun, but that's not for another 10 years. So hopefully we will see more of her, because she's a badass character, and I hope we do get to see more of her. And I've grown to like the art in this book. I was
gonna say, I hope that they put this in print soon.
I do too, because like I said, that the other volume prior to this that this is just draws off on was good, and it was in print. And hopefully at some point they're going to do that.
Right, because this is written by Kari Andrews, right?
Right, it is.
So that's the talent is there, the connection to the previous story is there. So it's just a matter of probably looking, kind of testing the waters and trying to draw people into the digital. And at some point they'll issue paper copies of this.
We would hope, because I hope this is not, because there's a couple of Marvel related Comixology digital only stuff that's coming out that I hope sees print.
Mm-hmm.
I think I talked about it, or at least one of them last issue. I mean, last show, and I might have something on this one. But yeah, it'd be a shame that they just get lost in the whole digital thing and not even being properly, promoted.
Sure.
So, but anyway, that's it for me. Like I said, it's sad to see this book go, but it ends all's well that ends well, and like I said, hope to see more of that character.
Okay.
Dope.
Alrighty, so just a few more books from me as we wrap up our review section. All New Wolverine number 25. This jumps straight out of the Generations one shot. Not anything in there really affects us, but it really gets us going in this direction, because it teased where we're going with the children, quote unquote, of Wolverine getting together. And there's a lot of mayhem in this. There's a great setup for the upcoming adventures of these characters. There's a lot of great development, and to be honest, it'd be kind of nice to see X-23 continue on as Wolverine, because I think she really has grown into the mantle.
It's a chagrin of some people.
Well, there's always going to be people like that, but I hate, but I'm also among those who are happy that Logan is returned. Logan, the 616. Yeah, I am. I've kind of missed the character.
I mean, kind of had him in Old Man Logan, though.
No, but the thing is, I don't care for the Old Man Logan so much because of the backstory from the Old Man Logan story.
Mm.
The dystopian future thing.
Gotcha.
Daredevil number 27. This is another chapter in the the overseas adventures of Daredevil as we see what has happened, what has befallen Blind Spot. So there's definitely some stuff going on with the Hand when it comes to that. So if you want to keep up with Daredevil, you can take a look at that. I spoke to Charles Soule actually at New York Comic Con, and he was actually hyping not this storyline, but the upcoming storyline with the Kingpin and what Kingpin's potential status quo changes in the wake of the events of Secret Empire. So that was what Charles Soule was hyping while I was talking to him. And let's see, Defenders we did, Falcon we did, Ms. Marvel we did. Oh, Runaways #2 in my last book. So Runaways #2, I read Runaways kind of as a binge read at one point, so I'm pretty familiar with this, but it's been a long time. And what's cool about the first 2 issues of this next volume, the current volume of Runaways, is that the first issue is full of drama. You know, the rescue of Gert and the saving of her life. It is here in issue #2 where Nico and Chase kind of catch Gert up on what has happened since she was essentially killed. And, you know, everything is recounted from Avengers Arena, the events of Avengers Arena, to what happened tangentially in the Vision Limited series by you know, what happened to Victor Mancha. Because that's actually brought up in here as well. And we may not have seen the last of Victor Mancha because of, you know, without spoiling too much, something is revealed here in this issue about that character. I thought it was funny that the reprints, the director's cut issue of the Vision, which contains director's cut #5, which contains chapters 9 and 10, issues 9 and 10 of the Vision Limited series, came out this week, and this is the Victor Mancha issues. So I thought it was kind of cool that if you were kind of curious as to what happened in that Runaways issue, what happened to the character, you could pick up this Vision director's cut, and it's right there.
That's probably a coincidence, though.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of cool that if you were, I mean, obviously we have it readily accessible. It's not something that you may pick up on when you're in the comic book store, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, I like that the creators on this, I don't want to flub their names. I don't remember them offhand. The writer's Rainbow Roll, and the artist is Chris Anka.
Yeah.
On colors is Matthew Wilson. So what I like about this is that they waited until issue #2 to get everyone caught up on what has happened and what Gert has missed out on.
So let me ask you about that, because I mean, I don't claim to be that knowledgeable on Runaways, but do they handle her, bring her back in a pretty palatable fashion?
It's always magic, but at the end of the day, it's done while how they do it is obviously unrealistic. The character's reaction to being, you know, not necessarily reincarnated, but like kind of brought forward into time and having her life saved. All of the reactions are well written. It's terribly realistic as that can be. But in terms of how the character reacts and how the characters react to her and her questions about what has happened since are you know, were very well done.
So they did an Ant-Man
to an extent, yes.
Or, you know, yeah. Interesting.
Right. So like I said, it's nice that they waited until issue 2 to do it. You know, and not bogged down issue #1 with all the you know, the explanations. So, all right. So I guess we can get to clicks of the week, huh?
I had my last book to do.
Oh, you do? Sorry about that. One more rapid fire.
Detective Comics number 966. Part 2 of A Lonely Place of Living, I think it is. But it deals with Robin, or Red Robin, Tim Drake, escaping out of Mr. Oz's prison and finding Batman, but it's not Bruce Wayne Batman. It's Tim Drake of the future, Batman of tomorrow, from a previous pre-New 52 storyline of the Titans of Tomorrow, I think, from Jeff Johns.
Oh, okay.
Except this is a gun-toting, I don't mind killing people, Tim Drake Batman. And the main gist from this story was they planted the seeds for Superboy Connor Kent perhaps showing up at some point down the line. That was the Superboy that is the genetic making of Superman and Lex Luthor DNA mixed together.
Okay.
So he grows up to be Superman in the future, and Batman Tim Drake tries to give his younger self some advice about apologizing or making up with Connor. And young Tim responds, "Who's Connor?" So he doesn't seem to remember his friend from the pre-New 52.
Mm.
And apparently Batwoman has something to do with everything that goes wrong in the future. So the Batman of tomorrow has made him and Red Robin have made their way to Gotham City, I believe. And Batman of tomorrow is gonna go on the hunt for Batwoman. So
okay.
Now we can do clips of the week.
There we go. Clicks of the week.
Tough one this week for me, but I think I'm gonna go with Amazing Spider-Man 789.
Nice. Nice. I like that too. That's a good pick. Yeah, I was underwhelmed as opposed to just being whelmed this week. I read a lot, read a lot. You want to go ahead, Roddy?
Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead. As much as I like the callbacks in Avengers 28, I like I said, if you like that, you should definitely check that out. But I think I'm going to go with Immortal Iron Fist #6.
Cool. I'm definitely hoping that they get that in print so I can catch up on that. I don't believe I'm going to deviate from what I thought I was going to choose before we started the show. My click of the week this week is Ms. Marvel #23, for the simple fact that they're literally making fun of a life-threatening situation, because it's what did they call it, like a medium speed chase or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And I couldn't contain the dumb grin on my face, and in my head, because I just loved that. That was just really cool writing.
Which is the funny part about that, actually, real quick, I found myself thinking, I was like, well, wait a minute, there's probably something she could have actually done to help slow it down a little bit more, but whatever.
Come on, it's a story.
Gotta put the plot, yeah.
Exactly. All right, so as we transition into the news, give me a chance to read our first ad for the night. Let me tell you about Skull Candy. Skull Candy makes the best headphones, earbuds, and gaming headsets, all with lifetime warranties. Skull Candy produces many types of audio accessories, including headphones, sports earbuds, Xbox and PlayStation gaming headsets, DJ headphones, iPod and MP3 headphones. And now, for the listeners of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles, Skull Candy offers free standard shipping on your order. To help keep our podcast free, order from Skull Candy by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link. Click on the Skull Candy banner and then shop for high-quality audio accessories with free standard shipping. Skull Candy Audio through cspn.us. Do it today.
Alrighty. So in cinematic news, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., an important Marvel artifact, returns in season 5.
The monolith, folks, it's back. Spoilers.
Okay.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. season 5 space story is still a mystery. Adrian Palicki wants Mockingbird to return in season 5 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I want her to return as Mockingbird.
Yes. Because we know her hubby was Lance, whatever his name.
Lance Hunter.
Like, so
Nick Blood, I think his name is.
Lance Blood, yeah. I can't remember his.
No, I think his real name is Nick Blood, and
yeah, it's Lance on the show. It's Nick Blood, though.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hulk will get a 3-film story arc starting with Thor Ragnarok.
I like this.
Yeah, so this is kind of cool. Even though they don't have the rights to the Hulk, they're using Thor Ragnarok, Avengers, Infinity War, and I guess that other Avengers movie as a sort of a 3-parter for Hulk.
Yep.
That's cool.
And Thor Ragnarok's Tessa Thompson is ready for an all-female Marvel team-up.
And so do I, especially if she's involved.
It'd be nice if they called it A-Force, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Or even the Secret or whatever the other Defenders book was. Not Secret Defenders. Fearless Defenders.
Oh, yeah. People forget about that one.
Yeah. Which Valkyrie was a part of.
All right. So,
what else we got here? Before Thor Ragnarok comes to theaters, hang it on your wall.
So yeah, apparently there's going to be an art installation or something that's going to happen before the opening of Thor Ragnarok. So from October 20th through the 5th in Los Angeles, 40 artists are do a bunch of stuff, art together, some of which is being shown in the video. Yeah, that'll be on for viewing for those in LA. And it'll be at LA's Hero Complex Gallery again from the October 20th through the 5th.
There's a report of Avengers 4 set photos showing Jeremy Renner's new Hawkeye look.
So yeah, apparently there's been a rumor that he's going to be Ronin in the book. I mean, in the movie, but these particular pictures are him on set with an arm tat sleeve, denoting that Hawkeye's going to have some wild times or something. I don't know.
Yep. Marvel launches Marvel HQ on YouTube and the YouTube Kids app.
So yeah, something for the kids on YouTube's.
Mutant Liberation Front confirmed for Fox's Gifted.
Has anybody watched that?
I watched it, but I remember I saw when that conversation took place and they were name dropped, but apparently I wasn't paying attention because I missed it.
Okay,
that happens sometimes. DC heroes unite in the new Justice League trailer.
Have you seen that?
I did not watch it yet.
I watched it.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's all right.
I can't believe it's almost November, Like Thor Ragnarok is right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Justice League is right around the corner. My goodness.
Yep. And then after that, it'll be Star Wars time again.
Goodness.
Let's see. Constantine lights up with first look at animated series.
Wait.
Yeah, I was skipping that Superman one.
Oh, okay.
Zack Snyder shared some storyboard of trailers, Lois and Clark scene.
Yeah, basically there was a scene in the trailer in the trailer right up front that they were talking about. But yeah, the Constantine news is pretty good.
Yeah. I watched it on my phone, but I need to put it on a regular screen.
Wait, is it out already?
The first look.
Oh, the first look. Oh, thought you meant the series.
I don't know.
So yeah, he's getting an animated series just like the Ray and the Vixen did before it on CW Seed.
And Constantine will show up on Legends of Tomorrow season 3.
Yep. played by Matt Ryan himself, which has know a couple of people that I know very, very heavy.
And he will be a bisexual chain smoker.
So
Okay.
comic accurate.
I'm like, okay, is that? I think that's comic book accurate, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But you know, but let's see. But when Constantine was on NBC, they did not play him that way.
Okay.
NBC.
So that's why this got brought up as a deal.
Gotcha.
And let's see, the series regular is leaving DC Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah, Victor Gabor, aka Gray, aka Professor Stein, is leaving Legends of Tomorrow because he's going on Broadway. Doesn't sound like they're leaving room for him to come show up again. I should say, not necessarily, but he's not going to be a regular anymore.
All right.
I'm not sure what they're going to do about the Firestorm in that case, but I don't know.
Shazam films casting call indicates new 52 version of the character.
And not knowing too much about these characters, I don't know if this is a big deal or not.
I don't see it as that. I mean, that's would be based off of Jeff Johns' version of the character, so of course that's what they're going to go with.
Yeah.
Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman trailer gets comic book makeover.
I haven't actually watched this trailer, but that movie is actually coming soon.
Yep.
Next week, I think. Actually, no, it's today. Which is Friday the 13th, and I totally forgot about that. So, happy Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Yep. Flash showrunner confirms
Be on the
new
lookout
power.
for hockey mask wearing people right now.
I know, right? Jason's out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Flash showrunner confirms new power for Barry in season 4.
We don't know what it is, but nevertheless, there's supposed to be one.
Spoilers, did Flash season 4 premiere just drop a major trial of Flash tease?
And a comic arc that I know very little about.
Okay.
Kind of, but not enough to be excited about it.
Batman animated series Blu-ray collection coming in 2018.
That's
cool.
Panel that you guys talked about earlier.
Yeah, that was a nice thing to hear. At the same time, I'm like, but I can stream it on Amazon Video.
But you're also getting standard definition versions of that.
Exactly. That is the rub.
And I know, and because I was doing that for a minute, even though I have the DVDs here, some of those are kind of out of production order or whatever the case may be. So it's kind of weird. But nevertheless, it doesn't take away anything. Just that, hey, we're getting a better quality collection of them.
Exactly.
Teen Titans Go movie cast features Kristen Bell and Will Arnett.
So yeah, there's going to be a Teen Titans Go movie, which, hey, okay, cool.
The first full Last Jedi trailer just dropped, and it's killer.
It was a pretty good trailer.
That I watched.
Did you?
Despite what Ryan Johnson said, and then took back.
And took back, exactly. It's almost as if somebody said, "Hey, shh.
Hey, we want people to watch this. What are you doing?"
Yeah. But yeah, it was a pretty good trailer. I watched it like 3 times. So. And even though it could be a little spoilerific because we don't know, because sometimes they'll, like, even with the Rogue One trailer, like there was stuff in there that didn't make the movie, so that doesn't necessarily say anything. But at the same time, there was some stuff in the trailer that could actually be telling, especially given theories coming off of Force Awakens.
All right.
So yeah, Star Wars and
yeah, going for it. Like Rian Johnson said, "Hey, don't watch it," but then he changed his mind after that, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Moving on to comic news.
Mm-hmm.
yes. Comic news.
Oh wait! Oh darn! Wait! No. We're still on
Movie?
Next page.
No, spillover.
Yeah. I was like, wait a
Do
minute.
what now?
Got to go to the spillover page for more movie news. Movie.
Oh, okay. New Spawn animated series could follow movie. Mark Millar teases announcement of first Miller World Netflix series. Hasbro taps Greg Moridian to oversee newly launched AllSpark Pictures.
AllSpark. Oh my gosh.
Well, you know, those Transformers movies, of course they got to do that. Yeah.
Captain Marvel feed drops hint about where Carol has been. Justice League's Memorial celebrates Aquaman Week with motion poster and more.
You missed one. Marvel Studios has a plan to publish official MCU timeline at some point. Not sure what medium they're going to do it in, but you know, given that Spider-Man: Homecoming and the coming out that Peter was supposedly in Iron Man 2. Apparently, somebody asked them about that, and I think it was Feige who said it's like, yeah, at some point they're gonna publish a timeline of the whole MCU, and I guess they're gonna also deal with where Carol's been and all that kind of good mess. So stay tuned for that. Next.
Mark Ruffalo and Kevin Feige have planned a special trilogy for the Hulk. We talked about that.
We kind of talked about that, yeah.
Someone accidentally knocked out Kristen Ritter while filming the new season of Jessica Jones, and the Gambit movie release date was announced.
Yeah, that's February 14th, 2019. For anyone who cares.
Right, and they haven't started filming yet.
Doesn't seem like it. And there was a thing with Mark Ruffalo at the Ragnarok premiere that apparently he might have streamed a little bit of it, but oops, mea culpa.
That's funny as hell.
Yeah.
All right, comic news.
Now comic news, yeah.
5-week event series Star Wars Adventures Forces of Destiny coming in 2018. Scott Snyder and Sean Murphy's post-apocalyptic Batman story sounds wild.
Okay.
And that's going to be in Batman Last Night.
Yeah, it's not the White Knight one. This is another one. Because if we don't have enough Batman movies, sorry, more stories.
Return to 1980s post-crisis DC with new Inferior 5 title.
Know nothing of these people.
Me either. DC's Meet the Publishers panel delivers twice to Morrison and announces a comic book milestone at New York Comic Con. Detective Comics 966 asks who the hell is Connor Kent. Jetsons reinvented as polarizing Black Mirror style take on the future. Dark Horse and Nickelodeon announced new Avatar creative team. Charlie's Angels is coming to comics next year. New Black Hammer Age of Doom ongoing series slated for 2018. Old Man Hawkeye series takes place 5 years before Old Man Logan.
Oy.
Wait a minute. Oh, did I miss that one? Guess so. Anyway.
New Storm series looks likely from Ta-Nehisi Coates and Jen Bartel.
I think this is almost confirmed, right?
It kind of seemed like, so like when I did my show, like, this was kind of a thing that was teased, and this article doesn't seem to confirm it any more than that, but there is more credence to it.
Right. They're probably not going to confirm, they're going to do an official Marvel announcement, so that's all I'm pretty much waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Poison X brings Venom to X-Men Blue Annual #1. Excalibur returns in X-Men Gold Annual #1.
What we've all been waiting for.
You joke. Seriously.
I am joking. You are serious.
I am serious. I loved Excalibur. It was dope.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that. Hopefully they don't screw it up. Anyway.
Let's see. Marvel revives adult Jean Grey in Phoenix Resurrection. We knew about that already.
Yeah.
Marvel 2-in-1 preview art teases a Fantastic Four return.
Yay!
This is only going to be a miniseries and not a ongoing.
Yeah, I guess they're going to use this to launch whatever FF book they do.
I guess so. Yes, it's 4 issues. No, wait. It says. Wait a minute. So this one says ongoing. Okay, this because the last because one this thing said it was a 4-issue miniseries. The last time I looked at this.
Who knows? Everything's a miniseries from Marvel.
Yeah, because it was either this. I think it was this article. Then maybe they edited it. I don't know. But I could just want to saw where it says the 4-issue. But this is a 4-issue. I mean, it's an ongoing. So yeah, okay.
Comic book thief leaps through second floor window to escape authorities.
Yeah, so this was actually at the main Midtown comic store that's just south of Times Square. And apparently, I read some conflicting reports. One, it was some drunk guy, but the other was that this guy was actually shoplifting and was trying to get away and took a header out one of the windows because Midtown Comics, the main branch, is on the second floor of a building, and there's a commercial space on the ground floor consisting of restaurants, and on the other side is like a McDonald's. So Midtown Comics is on the second floor and third floor above ground. And it's a shame that with Tim, have you been to Midtown Comics Central, the main branch yet? It's a shame that we didn't have time to do that, like kind of touristy stuff during the weekend of New York Comic Con. But it's a good thing, I guess, neither of us were there when this guy was running through Midtown Comics. But yeah, he took a header through the window and did not get away. Was apprehended because going through that big heavy window probably takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, coming off the second floor probably would take something out of you.
That's funny.
And taking the Bellevue, which probably the hospital is not the same as what it used to be known for, but hey.
Panel power, using comics to make lifelong readers.
Oh yeah, so this is a free comicsology book that you can from the Comics Legal Defense Fund. That if you're trying to get the kids to get into comics, you can check that out as a resource.
DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, and more Disney cartoons get Funko figures.
Woo! That's cool.
Yeah. Newsprint publisher Arterna expands to Toys R Us, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million.
They've been making a deal on this on Twitter, so good for them.
Yeah. And ILM Lab and the Void's Star Wars Secrets of the Empire trailer and details revealed.
So yeah, this is going to be an attraction at Disney World, downtown Disney. That's going to be some sort of a VR, AR type situation where you guess you're going in almost, well, I kind of likened it to VR / laser tag or something. Because it sounds like you're going in as a group of 4, and you're going to have these VR headsets on and backpacks, and you're doing stuff in there. And check out the trailer if you're interested in that. It seems pretty cool.
Alrighty. So that brings us to the end of the news portion of the Comic Book Chronicles. Let me get our last ad read in for the night. This episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles is sponsored by Busted Tees, your home for funny, awesome, cool t-shirts that are sure to get your friends' attention. Busted Tees puts many of their popular shirt designs on sale each week. Choose from several eye-catching t-shirts inspired by pop culture, cleverly themed t-shirts inspired by movies, video games, TV shows, comic books, and more are all on sale. To help keep our podcast free, order from Busted Tees by going to cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link. Click on the Busted Tees banner and then shop for awesome t-shirts. Busted Tees through cspn.us. Do it today. I also wanted to add that you should shop at our Redbubble store. I don't know if Tim mentioned it early on, but I did pick up a Comic Book Chronicles t-shirt that was a hit at the Saturday of New York Comic Con. Actually, some guy walked up to me. Tim, were you there when this happened?
I was not. I didn't notice your shirt.
Some guy walked up to me and said, "Hey, is that a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Can I take a picture of you and your shirt?" I said, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm wondering who that was."
Well, hadn't popped up on social media yet that I know of. So, hey.
That's pretty cool.
Make sure to follow us on our individual Twitter accounts. I'm at TimDOGG98 and at CBCron. Roddy Cat is at Roddy Cat and at News Nerds Needs and at CB Caps on Instagram. And Agent 70 is at Agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram. And make sure to check out fellow co-host PCN_Dirt on Twitter and go to his website, popculturenetwork.com. And we'll be back next week. Same Comic Book Chronicles channel, same Comic Book Chronicles time. And we are signing off.
Peace!
Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?